So can you see my screen?
I think, yeah, I think I've seen your portfolio, because I think when you apply to this to the
Yeah,
group, I
yes,
yeah,
yes.
I checked it.
I submitted it. So this is like my first portfolio. I'm currently working on another one. I have several. The funny thing is that I have several on the sorry, on my Figma files.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are like two more of what of portfolios I did over the years. Let me just use like a preview so it's
Okay. Yes. And the current portfolio which you have, which you just shown me, which has been created in Webflow,
yeah.
uh, is that the portfolio which you think, in your opinion, is the best right
No,
now?
it's not. That's like the first one. So I've been trying to create other ones, like something to currently showcase where I'm at now in my career. And
Mhm.
so these are the ones I came up with, but I didn't think they were good enough. That I just made the design and I left it at that. I didn't I didn't convert it to HTML on Webflow or Framer. I'm currently working on one in Framer right now, but I still need help like with the maybe like a case study templates. So I'll know how to structure my case study. That I think that's like what I have issues with currently now. Because if I have like a template I can follow for my case study, I can now start applying for roles. I have my resume already. I will just complete the portfolio on Framer, then I
Right.
can use that to I start applying. And also the issue I think I also have issues with my location. um most people most people don't like, they find it like location for Nigeria a bit, they don't want to take people outside their zone, which I found stressful. But I mean, part of your story on your podcast said that that wasn't a problem, region or
Yeah.
anything wasn't a problem. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is that definitely it's true that usually, like, different departments around the world, let's say European countries prefer European people, USA countries and people prefer USA people, just
Hmm.
like Canadian, Mexicans. So usually it's definitely easier to find a job in your own area. With that said,
Yeah, because
it,
I'm thinking of moving, relocating to the UK maybe by the end of this year or early next year. So hopefully, I'm thinking that will help also for the job search and all.
is it like a realistic possibility for you to like move
Ye-
there, like document them, like documentation wise,
Yes, yes.
visa
I'm
wise?
currently on the process. The visa application process is already on the way, so we're just waiting for approval before we're sure.
Um, Going back a little bit further, going back to your portfolio, I haven't seen all of this, but first of all, I can tell that the one which you showed me in Figma is definitely like much better than the first one which you created.
Really?
Yeah, Bec-
Okay.
because first of all, the one which you showed me like first, which you have in Webflow,
Mm-hmm.
person is joining. So the one which you showed me in Webflow
Mm-hmm.
is is a little bit like, seems like a beginner designer's portfolio. Hello,
Okay.
Abby. While the other one which you showed me in Figma, at least um, the small part which I have seen, seems like more refined. I'm not saying like it's the best portfolio ever or like
Yeah.
something, but it seems like better, right? So I would definitely urge you to finish it in Framer or Webflow. I would rather suggest using Framer because it's much faster than Webflow.
Yeah.
If proficiency already in Webflow, work with that. But just in my experience, when I was using both of them, Framer is much easier to handle. Also, I haven't tried it. Maybe I will make a video on that. But Framer has a plugin for Figma where you can basically just convert your Figma design into Framer, which,
Webflow actually does have a plugin too.
yeah, okay, yeah. But my problem is with Webflow, it's like really complicated a lot of times,
Yeah, that's it.
and I don't really enjoy that aspect. While Framer, in most cases, is like really simple to use. And even in Framer, it can take a little bit of time while you are like finishing something. But in Webflow, I experience this like takes more. Obviously, if you are really like a professional Webflow user, I'm not arguing against that. It's up to you what you can work faster with, because at the end of the day, no matter what you are using, the result is going to be the same, right?
Yeah.
So the question comes down like which way it's faster for you and more
Faster.
convenient. Because in that scenario, like again, if you could send me maybe your Figma file, that would help a little bit.
Yeah, I could send it to you. I have
But
like two variations there. So you drop me your mail. So I'll just
a second. Here you are.
okay. I'll forward it to you. I'll share the file.
Okay.
But is there like a
Yeah.
a case study template? Because that was what I was thinking. Because I still have like a free session with you, and I was thinking that, okay,
Yeah.
probably if I can get like the case study templates for this session, then I'll use it to complete my portfolio. Then use the one-on-one with you for a review of my portfolio and my CV. That's why I'm like, okay, I'll definitely use my free session, but I just wanted to make sure I have my materials, so I make most of it. So we just have like a review of both my portfolio and my CV.
Okay. So one thing about templates, have you sent me your stuff? Yeah, it's here, I think. No, it does not. Have you sent me this Figma file already?
I have to share to you.
Because I'm checking my emails now and I cannot see that right now.
Give me a sec.
Okay. Because then it would be easier if I would see the whole thing.
Yeah, I've sent it.
Let me check again.
Also, let me drop a link in case that's faster.
Okay, I got it here. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's here. Edit file. Can I edit it?
Yeah. So the first one there is the lighter version. That's the first one. Then there's two right there.
Wait a moment. Let me share my screen so
Yeah.
Andreas knows what we are talking about. Just a moment. My computer is a little bit lower than it should be. Alrighty. So let me see what we have here. Okay. And this is the second version of your portfolio, right?
No.
Because the other portfolio which you just shown me when you were sharing your
Yeah,
screen.
it's not here. Okay, please go to the old portfolio page. The page.
Going. Oh yeah, that's the one which I have seen. Right.
Yeah. So there's two right there. Yeah. So this is the first one.
Okay, this is what I've seen. All right. Okay, so going back to the idea of using a template, and you were requesting one template, I can send you endless amount of templates. But a case study power and sort of like the way how it showcases your skill is not really in the template. I mean, obviously it has to look good, right? It's like basic. But no matter like what you have right now is like pretty much fine. It's not really about the way. I mean, sort of, it's about the way how it's structured. Oh, I can move that. That's nice. So it's yeah, to some degree, it's about like how it's structured, right? What comes after one another. But usually, if you just follow the design thinking process, and usually what you were doing as a designer during the process, that should be pretty much fine. Usually, what misses from case studies, I don't know if it misses from this one, but usually what misses is like a clear not call to action, but like a problem statement of like what was the problem which you try to solve. Like for example, here I already miss it. Like okay, here is an overview.
Yeah.
What is the project? I can say that application aims to blend social media connections. Okay, so it's like, what does the application do and what was the project? That's fine.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of background. So basically, what is important to understand for a case study situation is that a case study's job is to explain how you were solving a certain problem with your design. And that's why it's important to highlight it somewhere here in the middle, maybe under the overview, but usually at the beginning of a case study, to like highlight what was the problem. And this problem, maybe you heard this term many times, like you have to create like a story for your case study. Usually this story basically just means to like have a main character, which we usually use the problem as the main character. So basically the problem is going to be the one which during your case study you always have to like refer back, you always have to mention it, like this is going to be the arc basically of your case study. And this is what most of the case studies are missing, that they don't have like a focus point, they don't have like a focal point, because usually all case studies are going to follow generally the same structure, right? You were given the project, you were doing the research, you were doing like wireframes and some ideation, then you were creating the end result, which is really nice and hopefully solves the problem. But this is what I usually miss from case studies. Now I won't read the whole thing, so maybe answer some of the questions. But usually what I miss from the case studies is that referring back to the original problem, because as I mentioned, that's the only job of a case study, of like showcasing your skills as a designer, that you can solve a problem by designing, right? And that's why we are getting hired for companies to like solve problems. And that's why it's important to like clearly outline what was the problem and clearly showcase how you were solving that problem. And if your case study does that well, then you are hitting jackpot. And at this point, it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously, your case study shouldn't look good, because at the end of the day, we are designers, right? But that's the main point of like having like a clear problem and having a clear solution or multiple solutions to your problem. And if you can do that, then your case study is going to be good. If your case study just looks good in general, like for example yours, as I mentioned, I'm not reading through it for now, but like this way, it's going to have like a focus point. Without that, it's more like just general, which is fine, because I believe that even if this case study would be built up, like have been made in Framer or Webflow or whatever you prefer, I believe if you apply enough places, you might going to learn some interviews. I see some like a little bit like design problems here and there, which I might would do like a little bit differently to like make it prettier. But these are like minor things. But as I mentioned, basically referring back to the problem, like the problem is going to be the one which going to convince hiring managers and stakeholders and senior designers about your capabilities, that you can, solve a problem, right? Because that's also something, you have experience in designing, right? That's for sure. So you already know this. But like a lot of people just, they think that, creating like nice looking stuff is enough. Unfortunately, it's not. And that's why like designers unfortunately won't get hired, because they don't understand this. And that's why I'm pressuring so much this fact, because whenever we are hiring someone for a company, this is what we are looking for. Obviously, the first step is like, is this designer can make something look pretty and something look modern and nice? You have this. But then the next question going to be like, is the designer understanding like how to solve problems with design? And this is what.
Well, I feel for the case where you want to understand if the designer knows how to solve problems, I feel like because it's quite confusing. Like no matter how much you think, okay, it's quite straightforward. You just think of how you want to solve your problem. You give a story. Yeah, it's I think it's easier said than done. Because if you notice, if you go to the other darker the portfolio on the left,
This one?
the other one. No, keep going. No, right.
This one?
Right. Keep going. The very end.
This one?
No, keep going. Yeah. This AgroConnect, no, the darker one. You see, this is a different case study, and this is a different way
Yeah.
of writing the case study. If you notice, so
Yeah,
yeah, like, so there's the what for, so this is this. I felt like this actually like explains how well. I sent it to a friend, and he was like he was confused. He doesn't understand what the story was about, and so I had to like take a step back. Okay, if someone that that is not a designer doesn't understand what I'm trying to achieve here with this case study, that
right.
means I've lost the whole essence of it.
I mean, I think the idea is good here, and also the approach is somewhat good. Like basically, the way how I'm explaining to like how to write your copy for your case study is sort of the same idea. Like basically, what were you doing, who were you doing it for, how long have you been doing it? So basically, like answering these easy questions, because most of the times when people are making case studies, you're writing whatever is on your mind, and usually it comes out kind of generic. And that's why if you use an approach like this, and I would like to compliment you on this one, because this is a better approach, because it makes like everything a little bit more clearer. Because also when somebody's going to look at your case study, they don't know you, they don't know your thinking process, and you have to be really quick on like explaining everything for them.
Yeah.
Because if you're not explaining everything quickly, they're just going to wouldn't care about
More
you.
fun.
They don't have time for that. On the other hand, like I think the copy here is like better, like the what for key finding. Like I prefer this way of structuring. I think just the elements a little bit like all over the place, which makes it harder to like follow the storyline, I think. So maybe like a little bit better, like structuring a visual hierarchy would be better. But I think
Okay.
you were approaching like the copywriting in that sense, as I mentioned. Copywriting is basically one of the most important, apart from like making a good design. But like that's the second most important, because copywriting makes it clear like what were you doing and how were you doing it. Because that's also so I'm not saying to like redesign everything which you have here, or maybe in your other one. Let me just check. Which one do you prefer, by the way? This 2023 one or
No,
20?
so this is the two of them. So I prefer this one. This is the more recent one, the AgroConnect. This is the
The black
more
one, yeah?
recent one. Yeah, that I did. So I just did for two case studies. I did for two. So I was
Mhm.
going to complete the third one. But I just sent it to a friend to see, okay, what do you think about this? And he was like, no, that it doesn't look good. And I kind of froze for a bit.
Who was that?
So he's a software engineer, but he has experience with design.
Right. Okay, well, it's quite easy to test, by the way, but to be honest, I would rather prefer this one, even with the I mean, this would be the homepage, right?
Yeah, that's the homepage.
Okay, so I would rather keep working with this one, because this, first of all, it looks more unique. There is like a few things which can be done better design wise, but this one looks more unique, I think, because it's also like important. That's why I always suggest using like pre-made framework templates.
Yeah, so I'm currently working on another one on framework, but I'm currently using the template. I'm already done with the homepage. I'm down. I'm currently on the case study. That's why I'm like, okay, let's see what this class holds for case study first before I move into that. Well, since you say this is a bit more better approach, I will use this. I will use this in mind. What was spoken about to work on the case study. Then probably when we have a one-on-one call, we'll have a
Sure.
review on how it goes.
Sure. Yeah. So my advice would be that now you have like three different options, if I understand you correctly. Like basically this one, you have one in Framer, and you have this is the 2024 one, or do you have a name for this?
Yeah.
Shades portfolio. Okay. Let's say this is the current one,
Yeah.
more modern one. Never mind. I would keep going with this one, because I think the approach here is nice. I would advise to like try to organize the elements more like underneath each other, or like somewhat like a better
Okay.
sort of a structure. But basically,
Yeah.
the approach is like nice. And also, I prefer this one because even though like at the moment it's like a little bit all over the place, like there is no focus point for the basically what I can follow with my eyes. That's why it makes it a little bit like all over the place. But apart from this, it looks much more unique, because it's also like really important, because even though this one looks nice, it's definitely like much better than a lot of portfolios which I'm seeing regularly, daily, or reviewing. But on the other hand, this is still really generic. And that's also one thing which is important in that case, that you are sending your portfolio to many people, right? Many companies. And those hiring managers were looking at your work. They're going to spend very little time on like, trying to understand what you are writing here. And most often than not, they won't even read the whole copy. They probably just going to read the titles. And that's why I prefer this approach, because here the titles are like already like
straightforward.
Yeah, like already prompting something like sort of like what's happening here. While this kind of structure, and I was also doing the same thing back then. So don't get me wrong, it's not your thing. It's just basically how case studies are being taught of, like, have to be created. But since this is the way how it's being taught online by courses and bootcamps, this is the way how everybody is doing it. And if we do what everybody else is doing, it's really hard to stand out from that situation.
Okay.
And that's why I prefer this one better, because here it like looks more unique, and also your approach of like basically instead of like having general headlines, you are already having questions, which is definitely more interesting immediately than just reading the same general headlines like overview, research, challenge, blah 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 blah. And don't get me wrong, I think this case study can also work as well if you make it like happen. But if I had to choose from the old one and this one, I would choose this one. And it's really nice that you already have like projects and images prepared, because this way you just have to like sort of
just copy and paste them.
So definitely it's up to you how you're organizing your content. But my advice would be to like, I don't know your life situation at the moment, like how much time you have, like free time, are you working, etc., or still studying sometimes. But like, try to put yourself a deadline on like what time you going to finish the Figma work, the Figma file, and then like what time can you finish the whole it in Framer,
Currently have a project that's quite urgent, but probably in like 2-3 days I should be done with it. So probably by the end of this week I'll see where I'm at.
Okay.
But I don't want to definitely hit you up. I'll send you a message on school, and I'll keep up with the classes.
Sure. The thing is, I'm not currently like updating that much the content, so I'm more like sustaining the group a little bit. But in the future there will be more stuff coming. But I'm just got a little bit busy, so it's more like I'm focusing more on one-on-one coachings and also like this group coaching. But definitely I'm going to be uploading material about like how basically what you were doing here. Like I think it's like a good example. But as I said, like,
what about the other one? The other one, you already like the first one, the second one? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
No,
that's
like,
fine.
This looks I don't know, just basically, first of all, from the visual standpoint, like design wise, it looks, I mean, okay, let's look at it. So I think the structure is like good, like the copy and the sections coming after another. But for some reason the design looks like a little bit outdated for me. It's like
okay.
I don't know, really like a bad template or something, like an old school website template. But apart from that, I prefer how the content, like basically like the structure is going, like, basically the content of the case study is being laid out. So it's more like a design problem. So it's sort of like,
So if this is a design problem, I think I can easily sort that out. So I just wanted to know exactly what was wrong, so I know where targeting my strength at.
Yeah. I think definitely this looks good. I mean, like for example, this portfolio and UX designer. I mean, I would rather use your name here, and I would rather make this portfolio title like what? Oh, here is your name. Okay. Maybe this. Yeah. I don't know. Something catchy would be nice here.
Yeah.
Just make like a little bit stronger, like a header here, because it looks kind of empty at the moment. But like underneath this part, I think it's good. Like this part is really nice. Cool.
Yeah.
I would also like the project, since these are the most important part of your case study. I would rather place them up here.
Okay.
So instead of like, your
Yeah.
information, I would rather start with your work, because at the point when they get to your portfolio, they already have quite a bit of information about you, like who you are. They already seen your CV probably. And if they want to contact you, they will find your information. But you're also, just like as a UX exercise, you want to make the viewer, or like user in that case, to get to your work and understand your work as fast as possible. That's why I think it would be better to like put it up here in the second section. And then also, like, I don't know about like how you want to structure the other, like how you want to design the other case studies. Also, I want to say 3 pieces of case studies perfectly fine. Like you don't have to create like a 4th one. I wouldn't spend time on that. Like 3 case studies is like enough to like showcase your skills if somebody wants to understand you.
Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend like spending extra time on like making one more, because I would guess that it's still like, finishing this one and then, creating like other ones is still going to take some time. So I would
Yeah.
rather focus on like 3 pieces of work. And I would also advise to like make all 3 in the same design style as these 2 are, because now like if you use this one on your website, it's like really weird that it has like a totally different vibe.
Okay. I was going to like a one particular case study has its own theme. That was the idea. So I'd use the brand color to style the page.
Maybe if you want to go that route, I mean,
Yeah,
at
but
least
it doesn't look like it now. If you couldn't pick it up from the beginning, that means it doesn't look like it. So I just stick to one. I think that'll be on the safer side. Yeah, then I'll put links to the actual websites or apps, web apps, so you can just go there and see the work live.
yeah, that's a good idea. Definitely do that. Like that's a good practice.
Okay.
What else I wanted to say? On this, but yeah, going back to my idea. So maybe you can have like, maybe if you want to use this color palette, that's fine, but like at least like somewhat be similar to like the original like design style or
Like the
design.
homepage.
Yeah, with this
Okay.
glassy square look. I just feel like it's weird if this is the homepage, this is one of the case studies which are sort of matching, but then I would land on this page. This would make me feel like that you
I'm
wasn't
going to
working.
the website.
Maybe it's like an older pieces of your work and you were just too lazy to make this case study like the previous ones on your home screen, and you would just rather like just throw in something which you have created like 2 years ago.
Okay.
This is how it makes me feel. So whatever I say is not necessarily like 100% true, but I'm just saying my feeling right now. And the structure here is like still fine, but if you were using like one way of like sort of structuring your information, and as I mentioned, it's a good practice here, but a little bit of better like structuring, I would rather use the same way of like showcasing information here as well. Or maybe if you prefer this one, that's also fine, then use it here
So
as well.
is it like, okay, you already mentioned that there's no like standard structure, the way of structure, like, okay, so you know how normally you have your overview, the role, the time limits, tools used,
Right. Yeah.
then
Yeah. Correct.
yeah, so is that like a standard structure that's would most likely go for?
I mean, it doesn't take up too much space, and I think it gives like a little bit of context about your works. So,
Okay,
it wouldn't,
faster.
if you have it here, yeah, or maybe here as well. It's like a good practice, it gives like already like a sense of like what was happening really quickly. I think that's why I prefer this practice.
Okay. I'll take
But
that.
yeah, by the way, I would also suggest these, like, because you already have, like, case studies here.
And these are like projects from over the years that I've been working
Yeah.
on, like some of it. So just pick two or three from the ones I worked on that year. Then I currently have projects that I'm working on that I would want to showcase on my case study. So I think I'll just focus on those three.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think since this one is like the best, like it has the most information and most images, I think it's worth. I mean, wait, let me check this one. This website is also looking nice.
Yeah.
But the question is, like, in your opinion, which from these two, like the Toppling and the Elena case study, which one you feel like UX wise, you made a better job? Not UI wise, but like UX wise, like which one you think is like more
The pooping.
this one?
Pooping, yeah, a lot of planning went into that. Elena was like a very rushed website. They were looking for something very fast, and yeah. But pooping, like it's a web app. We took about 3 months planning.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one thing, because I would then vote for this one, because then if once ever you have to present your work and they're going to ask about this one, for example, it's better if you can talk more about it. Like you have like a more story, like which you just told me, like they wanted something really quickly, then you said whatever. So you have like a story around it, because if you have to talk about like a project which actually doesn't have that much story behind it, then it's like harder to talk about it. And especially if this one has like more work into it, then it's definitely like a better choice, because then you can, give like better reasonings about why were you using this kind of like research methods, what has happened here, etc. So if I would be in your place, I would use these pieces of work, like change at here, like basically this is going to be your fourth. Can I move? Yeah, size. Sorry for taking stuff. But so I would place it here. So this is going to be your 3 pieces of work, right?
Yeah.
So, my book, this is just going to come here. And basically I would kind of redesign this too to like look similar to the first one and to the home page. So basically use these design items to like look similar. I would also recommend, like, as I said, trying to like make like a better, basically like imagine when you're reading it out and you wanna go through really fast and you wanna understand everything really fast. This is the mindset which you have to have when you're structuring your stuff. Make it as simple as possible. Like for example, like the idea that you're highlighting some of the information within your copy, that's already like, again, like a good practice. So kudos on that.
Thank you.
But just the way, like for example, if I'm looking at it like this, it's a little bit weird. If I'm looking at full screen, let's say like this, it's like, I don't know, it feels, and also like at this point I feel like it's a little bit like too big font sizes. For here it works a little bit better, but if this is a full screen, it's still like everything is a little bit bigger than I feel like it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, this is 24. Yeah, I would rather go with like something with like 16 or maybe 18 pixel big font. And yeah, test it often like this way, because this is what people are going to see whenever they actually going to scroll through it. So usually it's I'm definitely sure you this is how you're designing, right? But like, one section should be like about one topic, the other section should be only about one topic, the other section, like for example here, this can be the what and maybe the for, that would be the first two. Then again maybe for different headline, but this will be something else. Okay, then here would come the key findings and the pain points. Then there
So
would be,
this is the user persona.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I have like 3 user personas.
Okay. So in this case, I would somehow wanted to make it like more cohesive, because now I feel like they are like separate
Yeah, the stories.
sections. Yeah, maybe just add like maybe like this background can be different.
Okay.
Not that much different, somewhat different, at least a little bit. Okay, I'm just making an example. And also
Yeah.
like the elements can be like a little bit like not all of, because now, for example, this one is like higher than the other one. And I also understand that I think you made it on purpose, right? Because you wanted to like have this kind of like feel.
Yeah.
But maybe just try to give like more like, is it okay if I'm just, designing
Yeah.
it? I don't know if I can move it. Oh, probably I can't. Okay. Won't look like this. Never mind. But like, maybe pain points can be as high as the goals.
Yeah. To make the alignment equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I intentionally made it that way so that the edges are the same, but
Yeah. I think, and I also understand that, you made it on purpose. But like, I think in that case, it would be nicer if, it would be like better, aligned to each other.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
a little bit more cohesive. Do you feel like free user personas is important to explain what was happening here?
So that's the same reason why I was asking for like a template, because there's a story of, okay, when you're saying, so you know how we're saying, you already mentioned that you just tell the story from your own perspective of how what happened,
Yeah.
from how you got the project and all. So yeah, that's one way of starting the story. But there's another way of, okay, I'm not sure what I have in mind is the correct thing, and if it's the like standard, the industry standard. So I basically just I used someone's portfolio as a reference, then use it as a template, then created mine. But I think for the next one I'll be creating on Framer, I'll structure the story in a storytelling way, so it's a bit more engaging and easy to identify the key problems and findings.
Okay, but again, I don't know about the project, but in your opinion, when you were working on it, or if you wanted to tell like how you were create, like let's say we are longtime friends and we meet for a coffee, and you wanna tell me about this project because you really enjoyed it, or you solved like a really special problem for whatever company or like user persona. If you would tell me this story, would you include all three?
No, definitely I wouldn't. Like with if you go to the first the second one with went on.
Second
Yeah.
user?
No, not the second user, the other screens, the old portfolio.
Yes. Oh,
No, the other one. Yeah, wait, hold on. Wait. Go back. Yeah. So
this one?
yes. So if you start from the beginning of the beginning of the so this is so if you see, like it was a story. A friend recently approached me with an exciting opportunity to design a mobile application for her business plan.
Right.
So it was me telling the story, but the problem I had was the structure of how to place them in a hierarchy that would look engaging.
Okay. No, the hierarchy is fine. But most of them are not. It's like, okay, I don't know really much the story here, but I just think like, I don't know if all three or like constituting, like adding to for me as a reader to like understand what was happening here. So okay, it's like a hard balance, because you have to give information, but you also have to be as short as possible. And that's why I'm pressuring this factor, because a lot of times no one really cares about user personas, and especially in real life. Like just think back to your.
There's no need for those things, like even the competitive analysis. I don't need to show the workings.
I mean, no, like the competitive, I think it's nice. Like it's usually like giving good information. User research, I think it's fine. Here you were explaining it differently, right?
Yeah, I did.
Mm. And you skipped this part, right?
The user research. Yeah, I took that out, and
Okay, no, I don't mind that. Maybe
like I
you are
included information architecture.
here. You haven't. Okay, let me just read. Maybe it will help. Okay, what for? Node.js. Okay, for forms. Okay, why do we have two forts?
Yeah, that was a problem. I hope you didn't notice.
No, I think
That
it.
was a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, because now I just see that it's kind of the same, but like it's being told differently, right? So
Yeah.
maybe just keep more like this one because it's easier to understand. Like it's pretty easy, like farmers, agro input providers, investors. It's fine. Keep it like this. Place it here. Maybe I can just.
I think that's the why. That for
Oh,
was
that should
supposed
be
to
the
be
why.
yeah, the why.
You just forget.
Yeah, I just remembered why.
No worries. Then I would suggest like trying to make it like smaller, the
Yeah,
copy.
so yeah, 16, 18. I will check out the fonts.
Yeah. Not sorry, not font, like not pixel wise, but like less content here because I think it's like a little bit longer than it should.
Okay. Okay.
Like for example, like as long as
So
the
much
bot.
text.
Like I don't know if you ever heard this story. There is this famous story. I think it has been told many times, many differently. But like there was like one intern guy who was working for a big corporate company, and he wanted to like get higher on the career ladder. So he was making like a marketing plan for the CEO of the company, which he wanted to show for the CEO. And this, first the guy was making like a 10-page long like marketing plan, like how can they make the product better, how can they make the company better. He was showing it for the CEO, and the CEO told him to like, make it shorter. He doesn't have time for this. Okay, a week later, the guy came back and he was showing like a 5-page marketing plan. The CEO sent him away, and he was, telling him to like he doesn't have this much time. Make it shorter. I don't have this much time. The guy came back. It was like 2-page long. He said, "Okay, we are getting there, but it's still like really long. I don't have that much time." And then at the end, he was coming back with like basically like a one sentence, and then the CEO said, "Okay, now I understand. Okay, let's do this," or like something. I don't exactly know the story, but it was something like this. So basically, that was the moral of the story, to like busy people doesn't have time. And here I'm not saying
that was quite the opposite, because normally, yeah, when I did my first portfolio, it was very straightforward and everything. And I sent it to a friend of mine to like review and tell me what she thinks, because she's also a designer. And she said that it wasn't detailed, it didn't show my design process, like it didn't show that I understood what I was doing. I was like, okay, I need to show I understood what I was doing. That means you want the story to be long, then I had to pour in the process, design thinking, the iterations.
So here we come to like personal preferences, because for example, me, I'm also considering myself as a busy person, and I cannot hate when people can't like focus on one thing and can't explain something fast. Like I'm literally like getting sick of that. So that's also my personal, like, if this is like, for example, when we were hiring for like other designers, this is what I was looking for. Like, okay, tell me what's happening here. Why do you do this? What was the research methods? How these research methods were helping you? And I assume, based on like I was talking to like other managers and stuff, that this is what also they are looking for, to like make it easy. With that said, if that's your own experience, how you were doing it. So keep everything which you think is like really, really important, but try to make it as short as possible. So I think that would be like a sweet spot. Again, maybe if I would talk to your friend, maybe we could agree on this. Like, definitely, if you're just being really, really too straightforward, like maybe I am being sometimes, that's also not a good end. But maybe what your friend is telling you is, I think that would be a result of like maybe this one, because maybe what you're telling here is good, but it just, okay, maybe this not this long. Okay, that's a bad example because it's quite okay. But like in some cases, when like, for example, here okay, maybe that's also important, I would say. But like sometimes, if you just talk too much, that's not a good look. And that's why I said this story, because I think at least this is how I view case studies, and this is how I think it's best to structure them. It's like try to make them as short as possible, straightforward as possible. Like also, this is, if you follow me on Instagram, I think you do, like whatever piece of content I write, I always write with this that, people doesn't have time. They don't even want to read. They just want the
Yeah.
information, they just want the value, and they just want to get out. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's why, for example, even if you look at any sales page or landing pages, it's always like, checkpoint, 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 bullet points after another. Here's a headline, here is like one sentence. And I'm not saying case study has to be structured like a landing page, but it's also like sort of the goal is like somewhat similar here. Like you're trying to convince someone that what you have is like worthy for them to like pay money for it. It's so in that sense, it's not that different from like a sales page. Obviously you have to explain your reasonings and the way how you were doing it. But actually, apart from like this part at the beginning, I just feel like looking at it is like too long, like too much. But apart from this, I think like the other amount of information here is like fine. So here I wouldn't, like this part is like pretty much nice. It's good. This one is also fine. It's nice. Key takeaway is also good. So maybe you can take this one.
I think it's the personas that they are a lot for you. The persona. So I think I can just take out the persona, then maybe text it out.
Leave one user persona which is like important for your case study, but like free case person.
So the projects had like 3 user targets. So that's why I picked each of those personas for the user targets, like for the farmer, the agro input, the providers, and the investors. So I just picked one persona each to understand each of them's user pain and user journey. But I think I can just make a summary of it, so be like a summary of the user research. Okay, this was what the findings were, and this was what we came up with, so that it's not just so long and bothersome.
Yeah, because this way, there is no like really outcome of the research like here in the end. User research. Okay, so this is what you were doing. That's fine. But again, like if you were doing research like here, just as you told me, like there's one thing you show some of like what you were doing, but also if you explain to me like again, and as I said at the really beginning, this is what designers are looking for, to like understand how you are solving problems. And basically solving a design problem comes from the research, right? Like it's always like you research, you understand the problem, and you're trying to come up with a solution for this problem. And if you miss like this part, like if you don't really explain like what was the outcome of the research,
miss the point of the research.
Yeah, basically, because now I understand what was happening in the project. Have you created user personas, a competitive analysis, information architecture, and then we already like at the designing phase, like how did we get here? That's the question, and that's what you have to answer in the middle one. Let me just give you a good example. Not an example, but like I was using this analogy to explain this concept. Just give me a second. Okay. So basically, this is how most of the stories are being built up in life. Not in life, but basically in novels, Netflix series, whatever movie. I didn't do that. So the point is that basically it's like the case study also has to like follow this kind of structure, and the climax is going to be
the design.
The climax is going to be the middle part, how you got to the design. So basically what I explained here, like you are missing like what was the result of the research, the way how you come to the result, like what was following the research, like what happened, what was your realization from the research, is going to be the this. Okay, whatever, we can find this one. Yeah, so basically this is going to be the climax. So this is the overview, like this is what was happening. This is how you approach the problem. This is the research part. This is how you were coming up with ideas to the problem. This is how you try to solve it, and this is your design. Like this is the resolution, like the end outcome is the resolution. So this is what needs to be, this is the end result, right? But this is, here is a climax, and this is what I was selling. I cannot talk. This is what I was saying at the beginning. Like, this is what we, like, hiring manager. I mean, I'm not a hiring manager, but this is what hiring managers are looking for. To, like, understanding, like, how did you get from research to the design? And this is what a lot of people are doing. It's just they miss the middle one completely.
Yeah.
And they're just going from, like, research to design. And for some people and some companies, it's definitely going to work. Like, I'm not saying it's not working. And as I mentioned, even with your previous, like, even with, like, a case study like this, there is not inherently anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's general, looks general, feels general.
Yeah.
But still, I think if you applied, with this one, I think you would be able to land interviews, perhaps.
But it also have problems with where to search for design roles. That's one thing I'm really suffering on, like the sites, because I normally use Intra.co, but I normally not get callbacks. Then also I use LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is mostly like Nigerian based, no good pay startups.
What I can tell you, since you have access to the school group, if you come to the resources, which is, let's bring it here. So if you come to the group, right here we have the community. If you come to the classroom, we have the resources here, right? Come to resources, click on the link. I'm gonna get here, and here.
Sorry, sharing your screen. Your screen is not.
I'm not showing my screen.
No, you're still in your Figma file.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. So again, so if you come to the community, you have up here the classroom. Here, we have the modules, right? But here we have the resources. If you click on it, you have the link here. And then if you come within this FigJam link, you're gonna find. Basically, I have a whole list. Like, basically, these are all the places where you can apply for jobs.
Okay.
Or, like, websites. And I don't know exactly, like, on the Nigerian market which website is the best, but I can assure you that if you are using at least half of it, definitely don't use all of it. You're going to find, like, a lot of opportunities where you can apply. Also, I have, like, cool tips here, which I think is important when you are applying this way. And also, like, I don't know, like, in your area, like, how are you living close to, like, a busy city, or, like, how it's looking for you?
Not really. Where I'm living, I'm currently living in the capital.
Right.
But there's not like tech build-ups around here.
Okay.
It's mostly government offices.
Okay.
Around this side, yeah. So half the time is mostly I mostly work remote because I'm looking for jobs outside my state or country. So
okay. Cool. So basically, you can find, like, a list, because otherwise, if you live to, like, a major city, you can still network. But yeah, if not, then you can just search here. Here are some good tips. So I use that. So this is how you can find jobs. Like, here you will find, like, endless amount of jobs.
So it's just for me to submit my portfolio and my resume and wait for interviews.
Well, yeah, this way you're, but yeah, make your, obviously the first step is, like, finish your case studies, portfolio, make it as we discussed. I'm recording this, so you're going to have access for this recording. You can just come back and look it back.
Thank you.
Finish it as fast as possible. Like, I would urge you to, like, give yourself, like, realistic deadlines. Like, okay, going back to the design, just a second. Coming back here, like, realistically, like, think through, like, how much time is this one going to take for you to finish?
I don't know. I can't give you an exact time because I want to keep to it. Because I told you I have a project I took on this morning for I just want to quickly create wireframes for a particular project. It's a betting game. So I want to finish that first because that's, like, very, very urgent.
Okay, then
Well,
not precisely, but like if you wouldn't have to work on like nothing else, like what do you think like about how many hours it would take for you to like finish only like this one page?
Okay, so if okay, because the fact that I already have my mock-ups, I already have my information, so I'm mostly restructuring it.
Yeah,
Yeah, this can take me a day to finish.
8 hours.
Yeah,
Okay, 8 hours.
like what of work since I already have my informations and
Yeah,
my mock-ups ready.
yeah. I don't think it should take too much time, right? So like a little bit more information about between the research and the design itself,
Mm-hmm.
as we discussed the climate part, right? Explain like how you get there.
Yeah,
Um, and then I would advise like using the same design elements and try to make these two, but
yeah,
maybe you can use like a different shade. Like for example, here you have like a green, this can be a blue one, this can be a yellow one, up to you. But here you already have like a lot of cool content. So this is
yeah.
not something where you have to spend too much time. So what do I think within like, if you would have like time,
Mm-hmm.
I would assume maybe within like a week or 1.5 week maximum, you can finish these three. And these
Yeah.
three are the only one which you actually need to like start applying. It's up to you how you're managing your time, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's your life. But if you actually, just want to move forward, you mentioned that you want to move to the UK, but it's
Yeah.
still like a lot of time which you could use, better.
Yeah.
And maybe I also have been moved to like other countries before in my life, and I can tell you it's not necessarily this good. Like if I could have chosen, I would have rather stayed in my home country because it's like nicer to be in your home country.
I get that, but there's always this I mean, I have the whole location problem for applying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and also this is tech, and also there's always a limit from what you can do remotely.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's why like I'm saying, okay, if I can make the move and see if it's better, we can always move back. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
of course.
yeah. So I just want to like explore my options, make sure that
Right,
I'm everything equal opportunity. Yeah.
right. I'm not arguing against that, but I just have a feeling that now you are having this idea that you're going to move away. Therefore, you don't have to finish your portfolio and case study, and
Oh
you
no no
don't.
no no! If I can get a role before I move, that would be perfect.
Okay, because
Yeah, so
maybe
I'm not moving. I'm not pushing this all up until when I move. No, if
okay,
if once I'm done like this week, if it's possible, if I'm done with this project this week, I'm going to be done with the portfolio on Framer. I already like started the Framer process. I already finished with the homepage.
okay,
I'm changing this template. So, but I'm just going to use this storyline
right.
to make the case study a bit more engaging and more interactive. Then when I'm done with the case study, I'm already done with the homepage from on Framer. Then I'll
Right.
send it to you. We do a review. Then I'll start applying immediately. I don't think there's no need to wait for anything.
Okay, that's good because a lot of people are struggling with that. That they make up like excuses in their head that why was
Oh,
the
no, no,
reason.
no, no. Like I'm done making the excuses. I've,
Okay,
I've,
cool.
I've been through like three different portfolios because of having like serious imposter syndrome, and also I've been making that excuse for this is I'm done. That's the reason why I made the extra step to register for school. So I have someone holding me accountable. And I think I saw the punishment like if you don't finish your portfolio in time, there was a punishment for there was one on the community. That was really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucked up so bad. Right. What I wanted to say. So going back to your imposter syndrome, like you already working like as a designer, then how the hell do you have imposter syndrome? Like
It goes
basically,
with every
designer.
project, it comes up
What?
with every project, every new project. So there's this project that I was working on early this year. So
Yeah.
normally I'd build landing pages, web apps and everything. So I got the project. The project was supposed to be like a landing page, and it became like a full blown web app. And that was like it was we are supposed to mimic bookings.com,
Right.
and I was the only one. I didn't have prior experience to building a full organized web app.
Right.
So it was a lot of struggle day after day. But I mean, with imposter syndrome, you have like there's that fear of failing that makes you want to not fail. So I think that's like the pushing grace I have. And yeah, it's going so far.
No, like I also had it when I was starting out. But after a few years of experience, I think it just disappeared. I was like, okay, like I've been working in it. There have been people who were paying me like literally like money for
Yeah,
what.
they do pay me. It's still yeah.
Yeah, still.
I
Okay.
still feel like, oh my god, what if you don't like your design? What if they ask for their money back?
But you know what's going to happen if they don't like the design. Like, let's say I'm the client and I don't like the design. What's going to happen then? What is your next step? Let's say this is the design which you created for me. I don't like it. I'm saying like this is like dog shit. Please, otherwise.
I think
like,
I've had the clients. So there are different people. I had like clients that didn't like the design I made for them, but there's one that will tell you, okay, I don't like the color. They're ones that are very specific with the corrections. I don't like the color. I don't like where this is. Can you change this? Can you change this? Those kind of clients. And there are those kind of clients that tell you that they don't like the design, but they don't know what's wrong with the design. Those are the ones that are really frustrating. They don't know what's wrong, but they know something is wrong. So how do I know what's to correct when you don't even know what's wrong?
what happened eventually with the client and with the design? What was the end of the story?
For that one, I wasn't the I wasn't I wasn't the owner of the initial owner of the project. So when I did the one I did and the client didn't like it, the head developer took over and they gave her a template instead. Yeah, just use a different template for her so that it will be faster for her to move on with. But aside that, like so far so good. All my work have been good.
Okay. So basically, like you said that you're scared that people are not going to like what you're doing, or maybe you don't know what to do about it. But even in this case of like with this really bad client, you just kept changing until they started liking it.
Yeah.
And if you look back to all of your projects which you have been making so far, very little of them has been actually like a bad experience. I hope so. But even if there was bad experiences, you know how to overcome them. It's just the fear. But since you already know how to overcome them, I don't think there is anything to fear. Like,
Yeah, thank you.
I think so because like your design work is actually nice. Like even though I said this like general, yeah, the titling is general, but I'm sure that the content like actually makes sense, and I'm sure it like you're a good designer. Like you wouldn't be designing 3 years ago if you wouldn't be a good designer, right? Like how many people are just like starting off and they are just like failing out, like they first of all they can't design, they don't understand design, and they just cannot stay in the industry. Like they fall off and they do something else, which is fine. Not everybody is born to be a designer, not everybody can design the same way. But like basically the proof that you are, even though I understand like you are being on and off with this designing stuff, but you are still in there and you are still like pushing this whole thing, and you're still like, and you have like multiple variations of your portfolio, but you already have one which is like, based on my experiences, I think that would be like a good solution which can get you like a jump if you finish it as fast as possible, and as we discussed. So yeah, I think you don't have to have imposter syndrome, obviously, but whatever I say is like, yeah, it's easy to say. I know, I understand it. But
I know, but it takes time to actually like convince yourself that this is it. Yeah.
No, but this is so what yeah, welcome. Like I'm telling you it honestly, like at least this is what I'm thinking about. Like what usually the worst case scenario is like always like not even that bad. Like for example, when I started this whole like design journey, like design coaching journey, like I was thinking that maybe people won't be happy about what I'm saying, like they will be really angry that I'm not giving enough, etc., etc. But on the other hand, there is always like a backup. Like I can just say that, okay, then here is your money back, or like, okay, then just don't my stuff. So it's like there is always like backup, and usually this backup is like even the worst case scenario is not as bad as we think. But on the other hand, the right and like maybe deep down your fear of like not being a good enough designer is like somewhat holding you back from like finishing your portfolio in time and like applying for more jobs. Maybe the reason why you wasn't applying to that many jobs was because you don't believe that you're good enough to like get to
Yeah,
this.
exactly. I think that's the reason why I haven't been applying and sending out my resumes, because I feel like, okay, well, what if I get a good job now and I'm faced with a problem, then I freeze up and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's really silly, but yeah, it has a chokehold on me.
But okay,
Probably.
let's just think this scenario like you literally would freeze down and like you wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah,
But
so there was like early on when I started like applying for jobs, then I got gigs, then I got interviews, then you send you like past questions for interviews
right.
to work on. And to give you like maybe to give you like a day or two for take home assignments, then the first day I'm full on panicking.
Mm-hmm.
Full on panicking. I wouldn't even know, I would literally be on my Figma file, blank, nothing will be coming up. And in my head, I'm like, what was wrong? This is something that you would do if you don't have like any, if you don't have anything anxiety, you normally just do it. So why are you freezing up at this?
Yeah.
So it's almost definitely I'll still do the assignment, but if I have like 8 hours to do it, the first 6 hours I'm panicking on what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the last 2 hours to submit, and I'm just like, okay, what the hell? If they don't like it, they don't like it.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
then I just do what I need to do. Yeah.
Exactly. And also like I think it's also important to understand like what is imposter syndrome is basically like your ego, like your self belief or like whatever, is trying to defend you or like save you from these bad experiences. And that's why it's like kind of like holding you back because it, you know, your mind doesn't want you to make something which may be going to hurt you in any way. And that's why it makes up these excuses like, oh my god, what's going to happen if, you know, this doesn't work out, if I'm fucking up, etc., etc.
Yeah.
This is why it's like important to understand this, because, you know, this is just a silly thought which like our mind is making up to like protect us, which is like nice thing that it wants to protect from bad scenarios, but on the other hand it's like not realistic. Like as you just said, you had these experiences, you've seen other people being in these situations when the client was like not happy with the design, but it has been sold, or you have been in a situation where you've frozen down and, you know, it is still worked out, right? You know how to
Yeah.
follow the design process, and if you follow the design process you cannot really fuck up because there's just a fucking process which you have to do. And
Yeah.
that's, and you do it as best as you can, and then it's like, you know, you reiterate it as best as you can, and then that's it. Like, yeah, it's not, you know, it's not something which you have never done in your life. It's something which you have done multiple times in your life. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you're good in that sense.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this session. I really, really appreciate the insights. I'm definitely going to get to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I have you to hold me accountable for if I start procrastinating it again. But yeah, I'm not doing that any longer.
All right. So that's why I was also pushing like kind of finding a time, because I see that you are busy, but maybe we can just,
Yeah, but I'm going to, so this the project I'm currently working on. It's not something that will take me time. I need to like I need to have finished it by tomorrow for the client.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so if I finish it tomorrow, like the next thing I have to do is my portfolio. So I don't have any excuse on that.
Okay. So if you finish that work by tomorrow, this is the 27th of August.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say maybe like based on my experiences, maybe it's going to take a little bit more time, and also life happens, so maybe some other things are going to come in the way. But let's say you started, maybe not this week, but let's say you started this year, and we discussed that since your Figma file is like quite in shape, you just need
Yeah.
some more time. You can finish it by the 6th of September, right?
Yeah.
If you finish it by the 6th of September, then I would say it maximum takes like one extra week to like finish it in Framer.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be the middle of September, 13th September.
So the thing is, since I already have a Figma file with
Mhm.
what I need, the mockups and all, I'm directly working on it on Framer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm using a template on Framer, so I just have to impute it, then make the storyline to
Okay.
reduce the time frame.
So can you finish your Framer case study by 6th of September? Like here.
6th is next week. Okay, let's work towards that.
What? Pardon? Come again?
I said let's work towards that.
That works.
Yeah.
Okay. I will hold you accountable then. Cool. So by this time you should finish it. And actually after this, like, send it to me. I will get some feedback, or maybe you can send it even earlier if you have something. I can give some feedback on it.
Okay. All right.
And then, you can start applying here. And, I think at this point your case study should be like in shape. Okay, that's a realistic problem, that, location can be like a problem. First, I would advise to like try to find a good job around your area, not necessarily like in Nigeria, but at least around Nigeria. So I don't know how is the work opportunities there, but apart from that, you can still apply for like outside remote opportunities.
Yeah.
We will look into that, but first let's focus on like finishing this. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sorry,
welcome.
can you pronounce your name?
My name is Balint. Balint.
Oh, I didn't want to say trash.
No worries. No, that's I also like to avoid it if I'm not correct or if I'm not sure.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Balint.
Yeah, same to you. It was nice. It was a nice chat.
This was
I
really
will upload this recording to the group. So if you want to look it back, and also I can send it to you as well. So if you want to look it back, you have it. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Ciao. Bye.